What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Ilia Topuria reveals next fight date. It was revealed by Alvaro Colmenero on April 22nd that Ilia Topuria will be fighting at UFC 317 at International Fight Week. It looks like Topuria is confirming the reports. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Yesterday, Topuria was awarded the Grand Cross of the Order of 2 de Mayo, which is the highest honor one can achieve in Madrid by the community. Since Topuria is in training camp, he recorded a video thanking them and basically confirmed he will be fighting at International Fight Week. Here's what he had to say. I would like to thank the community of Madrid and its president for this recognition by the Grand Cross of the Order of 2 de Mayo. I'm very sorry for not being able to be there with you, but I've got training ahead of me and I hope to make you all happy again on June 28th. Have a great time. The only thing left is Ilia announcing who his opponent will be for his fight at UFC 317, and there are signs pointing towards it being Islam Makhachev. The same reporter who revealed the fight date also confirmed that Makhachev was in fight camp preparing for his next bout. Yesterday, Khabib Nurmagomedov and Rizwan Magomedov, who's Islam's manager, met with Hunter Campbell in Dubai. So all signs are pointing to some news coming out soon. If this fight does happen, who do you think will win? Islam Makhachev or Ilia Topuria? Let us know down in the comments below. MMA community is losing interest in Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight. For months, there's been seemingly endless talk about if and when Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall are going to fight. But now that the summer of 2025 is fast approaching and there's still no word on if it's going to happen, are some fans fed up? Although Aspinall won the interim heavyweight title back in November of 2023, by quickly taking out Sergey Pavlovich, he has yet to fight for the unified belt. Jones had scoffed at the idea that he should fight Aspinall, even though legions of fans were calling for it. But ultimately, he said he would take the fight if the UFC forked over heaps of cash. Jones said that after he beat Stipe Miocic in November of last year. We're now in the month of May, and there's still no word on the fight, even though Dana White had repeatedly insisted it will happen. More recently, Chael Sonnen opined that all this uncertainty about the fight is just turning fans off.
Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall is a flame that is burning. It is not a flame that is growing. And I will just tell you by the numbers, the interest in this fight is getting less and less. So I have my own guesses as to why this fight is and my strongest guess is the audience doesn't believe they're going to get it.
It's a fair point. Are you as excited about this fight now as you were back in November? And for additional perspective, in terms of how long the unification title fight has been shelved, MMA On Point recently posted this. Volk lost the title, Ilia Topuria won the title, vacated the title, and Volk won the title back, and Tom Aspinall is still the interim UFC heavyweight champion. Insanity. What's your take on the situation? Do you think the hype around the fight is fading? And do you think it will happen? Sean O'Malley given advice ahead of Merab Dvalishvili rematch. Sean O'Malley will get his chance at UFC 316 to avenge his loss to Merab Dvalishvili. And recently, Corey Sandhagen offered Sugar some advice on how to do just that. O'Malley has been booked to face the bantamweight champion at the June 7th card, in what will mark the first time he's fought since Merab ended his reign. At UFC 306 in September, Dvalishvili worked his way to a unanimous decision victory. Well, ahead of Sandhagen's fight this Saturday with Davison Figueiredo, he spoke with Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, and when asked by the flyweight legend what he thinks are the keys for O'Malley to reclaim the title, the Sandman offered this advice.
I don't think the answer to beating Merab is a ton of footwork and keeping space. I think that O'Malley's a lot longer. Like Umar tried it and O'Malley tried it the first time. Like move your feet, keep a bunch of distance and do it that way. That's like a way to do it. But when a guy has a massive gas tank that's just that of which is like a superhero, I think that you set your space, and when Merab gets close to you, you hit that fool. And you know, like that sounds like really simple and maybe not the most technical way. I do think that that's like a way to combat the conditioning piece.
It's an interesting take, for sure, as in the past, others have argued that the way to beat Merab is to stay on your bicycle, avoid the takedown, and look to counterstrike. But as Sandhagen noted, that's hard to do against a guy who clearly has cardio for days. And speaking of Figueiredo, he recently had a pretty interesting, albeit direct message for Merab.
Fala Merab, boa sorte pra você. Nocauteia Sugar, você é o melhor.
Hey Merab, good luck on your fight. Knock Sugar out, you're the best.
If Merab did knock out O'Malley, that would drop countless jaws for sure. And speaking of UFC 316, recently, the promotion released the card's poster. What are your thoughts on this? While we're on the topic of Sean O'Malley, he gave a gift to his dad for his birthday and posted it on social media. What gift, you may ask? Well, O'Malley gave his dad the opportunity to be in his corner for UFC 316 against Merab. Here's the clip.
Center president. Well, you could say no, but do you want to be in the corner? Oh, yeah. That's not gonna make sense. No, I'm not even there. Are you though? No. I've been off work alone. 50th, sorry.
Arman Tsarukyan talks about lightweight division waiting on Islam Makhachev. As this video is being produced, Arman Tsarukyan still does not have his next fight booked. But the lightweight contender believes that this will change soon. Tsarukyan was booked to fight lightweight king Islam Makhachev this past January, but one day before the fight, he pulled out due to a back injury. Although the powerful fighter remained on the #1 contender spot, Tsarukyan was informed that he would not be fighting for the belt next. Well, fast forward to today, and it's also not clear who Makhachev is fighting next. The belief is that if Belal Muhammad, Islam's teammate, defeats Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 315, then Islam will remain at 155, which Arman acknowledged in the recent interview he did in Russian for Monk 3 channel. Right now, I'm not in a title shot race because I got injured. Yeah, my turn passed, but if there's a vacant title, I will fight for the vacant title. Yes, if he stays, he will fight someone. Most likely, it'll be Topuria, and after Topuria will already fight me, if I win one more fight, or let's say if there's no new name. Tsarukyan went on to report that he is booked for a grappling match on May 2nd, and after that, he's hoping to secure fights with either Charles Oliveira or Justin Gaethje. Now I'm not preparing for a fight, now I'm getting ready for a wrestling. It will be Dubai Super Fight May 2nd. There will also be a lot of people, the hype, the media. I haven't fought a year in grappling. I will wrestle this month, and already in mid-May, it will be clear when I will have the next one. Of course, I would like to fight either a rematch with Oliveira because he's #2, or there's Justin Gaethje, a new name. Just win calmly, and again be in contention for the title. According to the translations, Tsarukyan relayed that if Islam fights on June, it's conceivable he could rematch the champion in October. But since UFC 315 is on May 10th, that would mean there's a lot of moving parts at play in terms of committing to having Islam fight during International Fight Week. But what do you think? Do you see that fight happening? Joaquin Buckley doesn't plan on stopping trash talk towards Ian Garry. Recently, Ian Machado Garry accused Joaquin Buckley of instigating and furthering their feud, simply as a way to get attention. Well, Buckley responded to his fellow welterweight contender, and he did not deny that their beef is helping them out. If you've been following all the drama that's gone down between these two, you know that it kicked off after Garry claimed that fans could not understand Buckley. That led to Buckley firing back and saying that Garry doesn't understand him because he doesn't speak Japanese. There was also a much discussed interaction at the weigh-ins for Garry's recent fight. Well, more recently, Buckley spoke with MMA Today, and when he was asked to respond to Garry's claim that the welterweight's trying to piggyback off of other people, he said this: "Yeah, he's accurate. He's right. I'm piggybacking off the Buck versus I'm gonna keep running with that. The videos, the numbers go up every time I mention his name. But at the end of the day, this is the fight business. We gotta promote, we gotta speak about each other and get people excited for something and put a storyline behind something. With the fighters, I find it funny. Don't get it twisted. He mentioned my name first. He said something about me first." It certainly did seem like Garry was responsible for kickstarting this feud, even if that wasn't his intention initially. Buckley also went on to say that he doesn't want to fight Garry until there's more on the line, whether that's a title or a title shot. Do you see these two settling their differences inside the octagon? And who do you see emerging with the win here? Michael Chiesa trashes Colby Covington. Michael Chiesa is booked to fight Court McGee on June 14th, but the former TUF winner has not abandoned his quest to throw hands with Colby Covington. For a long time now, Chiesa has pushed for a showdown with Covington, not only because both men are from the Pacific Northwest, but because the two have traded numerous verbal shots. During a recent interview with MMA Today, Chiesa reflected on how his feud with Colby grew after they both appeared on TUF. "To me, it was a no-brainer. Being on The Ultimate Fighter, Colby kind of no-sold me. When the cameras were around, he wouldn't even look my direction. We had a couple interactions off camera that were genuine, and I'll never forget this. When we were wrapping up the fights, semifinals are done, I go back in the locker room. I'm shaking all the coaches' hands on Chael's team. I see Colby and I'm like, hey, good season. If you want to do it, let's scrap. He was like, absolutely. If that's what the bosses want, then I'll do it. Just know that anything I said or did, it's a lot of respect. I'm like, okay, whatever. I know what's coming. He'll probably put out some interviews saying some and of course, he did. Covington did indeed trash Chiesa in interviews and repeatedly dismissed the idea of fighting Maverick. According to Chaos, Chiesa's career has failed to live up to the hype after winning tough. But here was some of what Chiesa had to say in response to the controversial fighter. At the end of the day, I think that he screwed up a really good opportunity. I'm hearing the stories of how he handles his fighting career at this point in time. He said it himself, streamers make more money than fighters. I think he's aspiring to be a streamer more than he is a fighter. I know that he doesn't train the way he used to because I'm talking to people that train at MMA Masters, and it's like you want to fight for the title, you only want to fight ranked guys. Buddy, if you're training the way I'm hearing you're training, it's only going to get worse. Do you agree with Chiesa, and do you see these two fighting? Jeremy Stephens reveals how UFC return happened. When Jeremy Stephens exited the UFC back in 2021, chances are not many people believed we'd see Lil Heathen back in the octagon. But as the Slugger gets set to do just that this coming weekend, he's explained how his UFC return materialized. Back in July 2021, Stephens was submitted by Mateusz Gamrot, which extended his winless streak to 6. The fan favorite ultimately signed with the PFL, but after going 1-2, Stephens opted to give bare knuckle fighting a go. That proved to be a wise decision, as Stephens reminded the world how ridiculously dangerous he is by winning all 3 of his BKFC fights. Well, ahead of his fight this Saturday with Mason Jones in Des Moines, Iowa, Stephens spoke with MMA Fighting, and while doing so, Lil Heathen reported how his octagon return happened. I went to Des Moines, which is funny, all week. Went back to handle some business, got to see some family, and around town everybody's all happy. They're like, bare knuckle, that's crazy. You should be on the Des Moines card. I was like, I shot Uncle Dana a message, and the day I was leaving, he got back to me. He was like, hey man, I didn't have your number. I've been meaning to get a hold of you. I'll have Hunter Campbell get a hold of you. It was just kind of crazy how it all came together, but this isn't far off from what I've been doing, all the years of hard work. It'll certainly be fascinating to see if Stephens can defeat the former Cage Warriors champion. As Dan Tom recently pointed out, Stephens' run with the UFC began all the way back in 2007 when the Iceman was ruling the light heavyweight division. Not too many active fighters on this planet were competing back in 2007. Stephens has had quite the career. Dana White suspends fighter for using PEDs. Douglas Silva de Andrade was suspended for 6 months by the UFC anti-doping program CSAD after testing positive for furosemide. And before we continue, we have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day. Furosemide is given to help treat fluid retention and swelling, potentially helping with the weight cut. Silva de Andrade provided CSAD with a dietary supplement that he was taking before his sample was given. The supplement did not have furosemide on its label of listed ingredients. It was shipped to and analyzed by the Sport Medicine and Research Testing Laboratory, and they detected furosemide in the supplement at a level consistent with Silva de Andrade's sample. This confirms that his supplement he was taking was tainted and had trace amounts of illegal substances in it. While there's no evidence of intentional use of PEDs by Silva de Andrade, he failed to follow the UFC ADP directions that they give to UFC athletes to only consume approved third-party tested supplements. Should fighters still get the same punishment if the substance was taken by mistake? Let us know your thoughts down below.